Hello all! I know it's been a while, yes. But you guys have asked for it, and here it is! Know Your Champion, Hawkgirl Edition. The Winged Defender. Now, she's pretty straightforward, so I'm gonna try and do a dual video here. A lot of people ask me, Nap, can I see your amplifiers? To which I say unto you, child, yes, you may. But for now, please take note of how we play the Hawkgirl. Now, first things first with the Hawkgirl. You're gonna want to level into her E, because that's where all of her damage comes from. It's a beautiful thing, really. But her combo works like this. Anytime you use her W, her Q, and her E get an empowerment. Now if you see on the tooltip there in the green text right there, it says soar. That's this skill. So for the first skill, she throws her mace and it deals damage normally. 50% damage to creatures. Mace deals 50% damage to creatures and drones. Right, so it deals half damage to creatures and drones, which is a little stupid for like the jungle, so you don't want to use it in the jungle to clear. You want to use it to stick to targets, similarly to how you would use Aquaman's Q to throw the Q and then ulti your target. You want to do the same thing here. So when you use your soar and you throw the mace, it sticks to the target. So when you do it, mace throw will mark and reveal the champion it hits, allowing Hawkgirl to activate it again in the next 5 seconds to dash to the target, dealing an additional 30 damage and stunning them for 0.2 seconds. So it does a mini stun when you do the dash, so they kind of get stuck there in place, and then you can follow up with a haymaker, which will silence them for a second. So let's talk about what the sword does in general. Hawkgirl breaks free from slowing effects and soars into the air, gaining 15 move speed and empowering her next skill use 5 seconds. Using an empowered skill will deactivate soar. On champion kill or assist, the cooldown to soar is reset. So that's also a very important thing about her, is that when you get a kill, you can use your soar again to essentially escape or keep the combo going and engage more targets that way. So the way that you really want to use her is soar, Q, haymaker for the silence, get him with the ulti, and that should be the end of it right there. And then you kind of gotta just wait for your combo to reset. You can soar again and use your haymaker. And what you do when you soar and use your haymaker is empower your next basic attack within 5 seconds to additionally deal 2% blah 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 of the target's maximum health as bonus attack damage, and silences the target for 2 seconds. Maximum of 225 attack damage to non-champions. So basically when you use the empowered soar on like the Doomsday device or like drones to clear, it has a cap. So as opposed to when you use it on champions, it doesn't have a cap. Now we can talk about her passive here. Now her passive works the same way that Claw of Horus works, but Claw of Horus is for attack armor. So every time you basic attack with the item Claw of Horus, when you have it full, obviously tier 3 I believe, you get kinetic armor, which means that your basic attacks stack attack armor. So you, as you're attacking people, you can trade and deal get some attack armor back while you're basic attacking. Now in her case, she is pretty much a power armor shutdown. I mean a power damage shutdown, because she gains power armor in her passive. So each basic attack against a target grants Hawkgirl power armor, stacking up to 4 times, meaning that you can use your basic attack up to 4 times and gain these stacks. The buff resets if she has not basic attacked in 5 seconds. So you can kind of keep this going. Like, if you are engaging in a fight and you're chasing somebody that's power damage, you kind of want those stacks, you can kind of shift click and basic attack a drone to get those stacks in while you're chasing them down. And to furthermore, to emphasize that she is very power damage shutdowny, she gains a shield with her ultimate here that blocks out power damage. So what she gets here is Hawkgirl knocks up the target enemy champion for 1 second and deals attack damage. Additionally, nearby enemies are knocked up and dealt power damage. Each enemy champion struck by Howling Eye grants Hawkgirl power damage shield for whatever. Alright, so now the strangest thing about her is that she's a bruiser and she doesn't scale on health at all. So there's area damage, and the more power damage you build on this, the more area damage you get. This is extremely silly because you don't want to build any power damage on her at all. It's not good. Don't do it. Don't build into this. It's just silly to do that. Maybe if it did 100% of your power damage, I could see getting Cosmic Staff for a little bit of damage wearing and disintegration or something like that, but that's, you could do that if you want a troll build, honestly, but I wouldn't do that if you're playing a serious match. So you get 100% of your bonus attack damage on this stuff, which is great. So this is, most of her damage comes from that, but she bursts out kind of the way that Robin's ultimate bursts out, and it pushes everybody back, and it deals damage based on your power damage. Don't ask me. I think that it would work a lot better if it kind of worked the way that Doomsday worked, and it was, you know, because it deals power damage, which makes sense, but if it's scaled on health, that maybe it did damage over time the more health you had. That would be pretty cool, I think. But anyway, back to Hawkgirl here. So, I mean, well, that's pretty much it with her. You wanted, that's to say again, her combo is to use the sword, use the Q, and then use the haymaker. Now, because she's very simple to demonstrate, it's only gonna take me like a minute to demonstrate what her combo is. I just want to talk a little bit about my amplifiers here. So this is the one that I use for my tanks at the moment, and again, all of this is going to change. In case you guys haven't seen, there's a post on the forums right now saying that, you know, the box of unloved toys that aren't, the items that aren't really getting built as much as they should. So a lot of the really good items are getting a nerf, but I won't go into that right now. So the main thing about this is my tank build, and it's a standard tank build with flat armors and health that gives you a lot of tankiness in the early game. Now I use this on my junglers that are tanky, like Atomic Lantern or Atomic Poison Ivy, even Arcane Lantern I would use this on. Anybody that I'm really building tanky with. So here we have my attack damage one, standard +10, +10, +10 or whatever. Blue Scarab doesn't get a lot of love, so you're gonna see a lot of people using the Joe Shills mod, maybe the V9 mod, or just get 10 attack damage on something else. I don't know what you would get that on, maybe Axe or something. But this is what I like to play my ADC's top lane, and the problem with doing that is sustain, obviously, because it takes a long time to get to the top lane. So you don't want to back at a bad time. You kind of want to sustain your lane as much as possible. So I get the Scarab when I take my ADC's top lane, and that helps me sustain a little bit up there. If anything, I get it tier 1 if I don't want to rush into my crossbow. But also, I think crossbow and Coda are getting the nerf, so that's going to be a little damaging. Here, I have my power damage set, and this is basically skilled power 2. And I'll fix this right now, because this isn't the order that I build them in. A lot of people rush the lance, and I don't think you should do that. I mean, not the lance. You gotta build the lance first. That's what I meant to say. And then everybody see rushing this. Now, especially if it's fine to rush this if you get the plus 15 power damage mod, but what I like to use is skilled power too. Because if I'm gonna get this item, I'm gonna get the most usage that I can out of it. But you can get this early, and that'll help you with your will regen. Just like the first tier or the second tier. But don't cap it off without maxing out at least your Cosmic Staff, maybe even your Lance, and definitely a Starheart tier 2. You don't want Starheart tier 3 in the early game, because that's just power feedback, and that scales on the more power damage that you actually have. So with this build, you're gonna get the power damage and power penetration early. Then you're gonna go into your Cosmic Staff. See, yeah, I would even move this over too. Staff next, and then I would get the Sai. So that's how I would do that in that order. Maybe get tier 1 of the Sai Sim in between those if you feel like you need it. And most of these are actually in the order that I do buy them, so like it's kind of like my OCD kicking in there. Like, I really wish I could drag these and arrange them just so I could put like my tank sets all together and everything. But yeah, so like this one I would buy the Ruby first, and then you can go into your reflex from there depending on what they have. If they have power armor, you would get the mirror. If they had attack damage, you would get the suit. If they had power damage, rather, you would get that power armor. And then into here, this is my Swiggity Swooty, I'm coming for that booty assassin set, and it's plus 10 attack damage standard. Everybody uses that. But I take it on the time pack, and some people will take it on like the axe. They usually take it on the claymore, but a lot of people build it on the axe when they want their damage in the late game. With my assassins, I want as much damage in the early game as possible, so I get the Coda 3, then I get the Rip Hunters 3, then I max out the Claymore, so I get that activatable, and then I'll go back and maybe max out my Rip Hunters if I want to, or I'll start building into armors at that point, because as you see I use like armor mods. I like to have a little bit of armor on my assassins just so I can get up on people and do some damage, get up in their faces, and blah 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 blah. This was something I was using on Crime Alley for power damage people when it was in the 1v1s. Here's another Crime Alley one. This is my support set. I used the 200 will on this, and the modded Isis for the extra move speed, and then 200 will on this. A lot of people will just use the plus 200 will, plus 200 will, plus 200 will, and the more will you have, the better. A lot of people will use a modded Ekron for the damage. I don't think that's good. If you wanted to mod the Ekron, I would get maybe the 200 will on it, but even then too, so I had that instead of the breastplate. But the problem with that is that you're building right into damage, so you're not going to be really tanky supporty if you're going that role. You kind of want to build into armor's health and will. Yeah, the Ekron has will, but it's mainly for power damage, so you don't want to get that, at least unless you don't have a lot of damage on your team. So that would definitely be something that you can do. If you were to do it, I would do the 200 will, but I prefer to get the 200 will on this because it's straight defensive no matter how you swing it. If you are playing support bottom lane, odds are there's going to be some kind of attack damage down there, and you're going to want the tankiness of this item, and the will is really good on it too as well. So the activatable kind of sucks though. I don't really use the activatable on it at all. Maybe if I'm low on will and there's a crazy fight and I absolutely need to do it, but what the activatable does is it converts, it doesn't block the damage that you take, but it converts all the damage you take into will. So if you're taking like 100 damage, you get 100 will. But obviously you're gonna need to be focused to do that, and you're gonna need to be low on will to even need that. And if you're building these items, odds are you're really not gonna be low on will. In the middle of all these items I would consider these mods to be your core build, but on my supports, I definitely get the Amplifers. It's not something I mod because I feel like the mods are really weak for the Amplifers. They kind of just give it stacks faster, or there's no extra stacks anymore. I don't even think there's a will mod for the Amplifers. So you got, this is probably credits off. I buy none of the credits off things. That's extra will. 75 seconds, 20 will with each champion killer. It says, yeah. So I don't even know what the hell is the difference between these. 45 seconds. 75 seconds, 200 will. Alright, well, I wouldn't mod them because you don't really need that. Here is my tank support build. I got the modded gambit for the auras. This is really good to get in the late game. It's not something that you want to rush the auras, but you want to get that investment in the early game. So same with my support build, you know, you get that investment in the early there. I didn't really talk about the Grod, but what the Grod does is it gives you a shield in the when you cap it off. What this investment does is, what this gambit does rather, is reduces the damage that you take and deal when you activate it. So you want to use it on people that you're not really building damage with, and maybe when you're not using your damage skills, you're using the crowd control skills, so something like a taunt with Wonder Woman or whatnot. And then you got your standard plus 75 health on the Ruby. There's 3 ways to stack the Ruby. The 75 health, actually there's a lot of ways to stack the Ruby, I think. No, yeah. So you got this. You got the plus 75 health, and then you have the extra stacks or the faster stacks. And if you do the extra stacks, it's you get plus 75 health here. But if you do the extra stacks, it's like 100 health. Oh no, max 200 health. Right, and this is, I forget what this is. Max 300 health. So this is 200 health, and then you get 300 health here, as opposed to with the 75 mod, you get 275 health. And the only thing that you're really missing out on with the extra stacks is the extra 5% health regen. So you got 15 health regen here, but as opposed to 10. And the extra stacks is a gamble because you lose 75% of it when you die, as opposed to the faster stacks or the normal stacks, you lose 50% of your stacks, so half of your stacks on death. So you can maximum stack this to 40 stacks. So when you pick up 40 coins, this is maximum stacks. When you die with it, you lose 20 stacks with the regular one, and then I think you lose 35 stacks with the extra one. So you'll have 15 stacks when you respawn with the extra one, and then you'll have 20 stacks with this one when you respawn. Oh wait, but this one also stacks to 50, I think, or 60, something like that. I'm not good with math. You guys want math, go watch Crashy's videos. He's the guy that sits there and number crunches and does all that crazy shit. This is just me doing that. And so I'm gonna run over these what I use real quick. So for my standard tank, we got Castle, Force Field, Wolf, Fortress. And I could put these in the description if you guys like. Just leave a comment or something and I'll leave them in there. For my ADC, I got Beaver, Force, Columbus, and Slasher. The only one I'm not really like too fond of is Beaver, but it does have a good stat for the critical damage. I don't really build into critical damage, as you can see with this, but it's a pretty good stat to have once you get that Joe-Chills in the late game, which you should always be picking up. And then for this one, I got Cobra, Orion, Viper, and Blast. Then here we got Fortress again. That's that flat attack armor and power armor. Kai, Falcon, and Columbus. So we're seeing Columbus on this one, my ADC set, and my assassin set. So that's a pretty good mod to have for your attack damage people, in my opinion, at least. These ones, like mods, augments, I mean, don't really matter too much. They're gonna help you, yes, but they're not super effective. Not really as effective as modding these. So for my support build, I got the Fortress again, for, you know, just to get that flat armors on, and then I have Giant, Force Field, and Orion again. That's a little bit of power damage from my support. Then here we're gonna do my tank support. This is all late scaling items. I do flat scaling on my regular tank because that's all on me in the jungle and me like going for fights and everything like that. When I'm playing a tanky support, there's two people there, so I kinda yeah, I'm squishy in the early game. These are more for the late game. Since you're not really the focus down there, it's not really gonna make that much of a difference, and then you'll actually scale harder into the late game. So this is Oak, Beast, Wreck, and Vanguard for my late scaling ones. And if you guys confused, by late scaling, I mean this one levels up by the more levels that you have, the better this item is. So for the bottom tier, 2.51 health per level, but maxes out at 47 health. So when this is fully leveled out, you'll have a total of 50 health, as opposed to my regular tank set. The most I think I get is half of that. So your flat values are half of what you would get if you did a stacking value, but these are also right off the bat, right in your face. Bam! You get them immediately, whereas you have to grind up for these. So with that being said, those are the things I use. These are my Crime Alley ones for 1v1s. I wouldn't really use that. You can have a lot more than this. I change these up from time to time. I'm probably going to change these with the new patch, but that's what I'm using for now, just in case people are interested. I'll probably do a follow-up video on that. So here I'm going to select my assassin build. If I'm playing here in the jungle, I normally take this and this.
Launch in 5 seconds.
But since we're playing her in the lane, I'll take this. All right. Ugh. So once again, the best thing about her is probably the silence. So you kind of want to stay in that E mindset. Q does a lot of damage, but it's not your focus because you want to level into this damage because when you combo it with your W, it does the additional damage plus, you know, the target's maximum health is bonus damage and the extra silence. So to start off with builds with if you're going in the jungle, you might want to start with your Marauder knife. Going in the lane or some kind of support, get the nil.
Match initiating.
Some regen,
Let's go.
so you could be a little aggressive.
In 10 seconds.
I would start with the E. On Coast City, it's kind of tough to land the E because of the close fight
They won't know what hit 'em.
at level 1 in the stealth pads. And what you want to do there is just wait for the enemy to extend into you, pop off your E, back out of the fight, let your team poke them down, and then, you know, rinse and repeat when you get that silence back up.
Online in 10
So you see the X come above the head, and that means there's silence. So it's 1 second of silence when you normally use it on them, 2 seconds if it's empowered. It's kind of hard to show you what she's really all about until I get that sword, basically.
blood. You strike first, or you die. Take
Now I take my sword because that allows me to get around the jungle, and it also gives me that beautiful empowered E that I've been talking about. So you use the sword and her wings glow, and then you use the E to get that 2 second silence and that extra damage that it does.
Get me into the fray.
Now you can see that the Q doesn't really do any damage to boss. You can use it for last hitting, which is why she's not really that good in the lane. I really wish they would take that off of her. Alright, so here's her full combo. When you hit the W, the wings glow, so you can use that defensively. Like once you see the wings glowing, they're probably gonna go for their Q. They throw the Q, and then you get this mark around them. And you have a couple seconds. You got like 5 seconds, and you can blink to them, and you want to use the silence after that. And you're kind of like cooldown oriented, so you want to build more into. First, I'm getting my attack damage and penetration. And then I'm gonna go into cooldown reduction so I can keep doing that over and over. There, here it is again. Q in. And, you know, just rinse and repeat. Just go out. Just keep playing that game with them. Just, that's all you need to do, really. If you land that combo over and over, you'll win all your fights. So, yeah, she's pretty straightforward in that aspect. And as you can see, I'm getting the stacks from the basic attacks that give me the power armor. So somebody like Gasbat is being negated a little bit. Now, if you see this purple eye above them, that means they're being revealed. So in stealth, or in the fog of war, I would be able to see him, and that's only when it's empowered. So see, if I just throw the Q at him normally, it just does damage. He's not revealed or anything. I can't dash to him now. But if I get the soar up first, the empowered, the red rings, the red wings, and then take that, wait for that, boom, ulti, and that's essentially the full combo.
You have defeated an enemy.
Lights out.
Yeah, she's really good at shutting down people, but the same way that like Flash isn't really that powerful unless your cooldowns are up. The same thing with her. Her cooldowns pretty much need to be up.
10 seconds.
Stretch my wings.
And then you can be a beast with her.
Power relay operational.
So again, you can like from the stealth pad get those empowered wings, throw the Q, and you got like 5 seconds coming in, silence.
I've survived worse. I'm not afraid to throw down.
I'm gonna get you! Alright, well, that's pretty much it for the build. My straight up assassin build is pretty much the +10 on these items, so those are your core build. Then you want to go into either a Beowulf for that extra power armor if they have a lot of power damage, or you can grab the Claw of Horus for that attack armor, the kinetic. It's basically the attack damage version of your passive, the attack armor version. And then you have this for penetration in the late. After you build this, you can cap this off to tier 4. The reason why I only get this to tier 3 is because it only offers piercing 2 at tier 4 for 750. You get that extra penetration. But at tier 3 you get the maximum damage out of the item, so I build that, and then I'll start going tier 3 of this because that's when my mod kicks in for +10 attack damage, and then from there I'll start building into this, cap this out, and then I can go back to this if I want, or do the armors if I need some defensives, do some of this if I need some penetration. Items I wouldn't build. Joe Chills is good because this is the 50 attack damage, but this has the Slayer passive, which is really good with her. When you do the terminate with this, and then you do your empowered E and the Slayer passive with this, your basic attacks deal 4% of your target's current health as bonus attack damage. It's a pretty good item to use on her in the late game because you don't really need attack speed on her that much, but if you were going the attack speed route, that would be good. This would be good. Once the game gets updated, this will be a good item, I believe. I'm not sure yet, we haven't seen it, but they know that Lifesteal's in a bad place right now, so for your last item, you can convert all your damage into your basic attack with this. She's not really basic attack oriented, similar to like Flash, so she doesn't really get that much shine from this, but she definitely does benefit from it like all other bruisers slash assassins. So that's pretty much her in a nutshell. You saw how I silenced and mini stunned him there. I basically interrupted his ulti twice. So we got 4 seconds here. I could also just throw the thing, but gotta be cool about it.
I'm
hit
not
my
the good
wings
cop.
up.
Our power pole is under attack.
Take your pick. The easy way or the hard way.
So yeah, that's her.
Good cop, bad cop. I'm the one with the mace.
Stop dropping your mace. Yes, silly. It's so silly. If you guys got any questions, let me know. I'm sure it'll be
Nothing stands in my
pretty
way.
quick when I do the next one, hopefully. Be sure to drop me a follow at Twitch TV, Napple Marks,
Time to stretch my wings.
and all that beautiful good stuff. Thanks for tuning in.
Take your pick. The easy
Peace
way
out.
or the hard.